Hey, I'm Tim.
I'm Kyle.
We're here at Game 2, Habs versus Golden Knights, and you're watching Post to Post.
Let's go.
NHL refereeing. What a doozy, what a topic, right? Where do we start? Well, we started years ago. Reffing has really been a conversation, the consistency of reffing. What's a penalty in the regular season? What's a penalty in the postseason, in the playoffs? What's a penalty in the first period versus a third period versus overtime? It's a conversation that's been going on for literally decades, but I feel this year it's just different. I feel like it's playing such a huge role in games, and not necessarily, I don't think it's necessarily deciding games, but I think they've been lucky. I think they very well could have decided a couple of games, if a couple of things had have happened. But that's not really the point. The point is that it's going to, at some point, drastically, it's going to cost someone literally the cup. And that mistake just can't happen. Like, it just can't. This is a professional sports league. It can't happen. So the conversation this year around refereeing has been endless. And I see people on Twitter talking about it, and it doesn't matter what fan they are or what team they cheer for. I've seen Maple Leafs fans complain about the refereeing in the Montreal-Vegas series in Montreal's favor. Like, why? How come you're not calling this? And I see some other people saying, "Oh, it's just Montreal Canadiens fans." It's not, though. Like, it's not. It's everywhere. Everyone is having this conversation. It's not just about the Montreal Canadiens. It's in the Tampa Islanders series as well. And I'm not sitting here as a Canadiens fan and telling you that, Montreal deserves more power plays and stuff, and there's missed calls. Yeah, there is. But did you see the Edmondson thing? And he cross-checked, I can't remember who it was, right in the back of the neck and kind of at the top of the numbers, back of the neck, and drove. It's like, guys, that's a penalty. And, I don't care if it's the first period. I don't care if it's overtime. Like, that's got to be called, because not calling it is like saying that hit's okay. That's it. That hit's all right. What if it was an inch down and what's his face hit his front teeth on that and just lost everything down on the ice? Is that a suspension worthy hit just because based on an injury? Like, I don't know. It's very frustrating, but I wanted to make a selfish plug because I actually had a bit of this conversation with my co-host, or I guess I'm technically the co-host. He's the host on the Post to Post podcast with Jason over on the podcast channel. If you're not aware, hey, I do a podcast every single Sunday. We just so happened to release this one on Tuesday last night, because I wasn't available to film it this weekend. But I thought we had a pretty good conversation about refereeing. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a deep dive, but we talked quite a bit about it, and I figured you guys would want to chime in, to be completely honest. Maybe you disagree with us, and maybe you have your own opinion, or maybe you do agree with us. We'd really like to hear your opinion down below. So this is more so a highlight video, I guess, to the podcast, and that channel is linked down below in the description if you want to go check it out. Head on over there, hit the subscribe button. It's usually an hour long. We film in a different location than this usually. And I think you might like it. We talk about other things other than refereeing, obviously, different series and news. And we talked a little about the Islanders arena situation and the capacity and how, it was maybe a little bit strange. So if you want to go check that segment out. And at the beginning, we just kind of talked, basically, not about hockey for the first 12 minutes. We just kind of had a good conversation about life and stuff. And I released some big news in the beginning of that. I quit my job. You'll learn more about that in the future. But would love it if you go check it out. And what you're about to see right now is a snippet from the podcast where Jason and I talk about the refs. I hope you like it. I hope you consider subscribing over there on the podcast channel. Enjoy.
Time.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a conversation I want to have, but it's a conversation I don't want to have.
It's a conversation we shouldn't have to have.
It is a conversation that we should not have to have. You are
But
right.
How many times have we... Okay, we're going to talk about the reffing, so put the banner up top. How many times in this podcast have we talked about reffing? Bunch.
Probably about as much as we talked about goaltender interference, which is a lot.
Yeah, like a bunch. And most of the time, it's a topic, but I don't know if everybody's talking about it. Right now, everybody's talking about this. You go on any sports website, you go on any hockey Discord, hockey forum, hockey Reddit, you're going to see people talking about the reffing.
Here's why I think it matters, because it's not just Montreal Canadiens fans having the conversation.
No.
It's like a lot of hockey fans from other teams.
And a lot of the Colorado fans are saying, like, to you people who weren't watching our series, we're glad you're finally seeing that it's not just us saying that there's something going on here.
I've even seen some Maple Leaf fans. Like, Maple Leafs were eliminated by the Montreal Canadiens. I've seen Leaf fans complain about the reffing inconsistencies. But Vegas is very good at being sneaky and right along the rule book. Like, could be a penalty.
But there's stuff that's blatantly...
Yes, there is. Like that punch to the face on Suzuki, that was ridiculous.
We're going to get into that. I have that in my notes. Let's skip that for now. I want to talk about that specifically.
That's unacceptable.
What do you think of Gord Miller overall?
Gord Stats Miller?
Yeah.
I can't listen to him.
You don't like him? I love Gord Miller. I think he's good.
Logically, I I probably agree with everything he says.
Do you think he's a
logically.
smart hockey guy?
Incredibly.
Okay, you just don't like his play-by-play.
I don't like the stats. Like this guy had toast on Tuesday in 1991 before he went to first grade, and he got 99 in the test. And it's a Tuesday again. He had toast this morning. He's gonna
Listen,
have a good
man,
game.
you got to have the gift of gab to be a commentator.
You do, but yeah, I don't need stats from like that. Has no significant. Like 75% of his stats are insignificant.
But
So
it
just don't
just
say
makes
them.
him sound better to the people who are half paying attention.
I know.
Okay, so Gordon Miller he works for TSN. He put some tweets out, and I want to read them and get your reaction to them. So he said, he's actually talking about this. He's one of the few people, because it seems like there's some people that are kind of talking about it, but none of the big guys, like Elliot Friedman's not talking about it.
I think he's saving it.
Exactly. Or they're in a position where they are in their company where, hey, we're with Rogers, we have a big partnership with the NHL, we can't really bash. I don't know.
I don't think
because
so.
there's articles on Sportsnet about it. Okay, let me just start with Gordon Miller first. This is what he said in his tweets, and this is 3 different tweets. He said, it's time for a reset. Call the rule book. A penalty in the first minute of the first period is a penalty in the last minute of the third or overtime. Expecting officials to manage the game doesn't work. Call the penalties, the players will adjust.
I completely agree.
Then he quotes Ray Ferraro, another TSN guy. This is what Ray Ferraro says. So this is a bit of a freebie, but are people happy with the don't want the refs to decide the game stuff? This is comical, really. Just call the penalties that are there. Quit trying to manage the game because the refs always end up in a hole. And then Gord replied by saying not calling penalties decides just as many games as calling them. Another true fact.
It's true.
Another tweet by Gord. One of the things Ray Ferraro and I have talked about, and they have their own podcast, I believe, or he's been on. No, it's the Ray and Dregs podcast. So that's Drager. Never mind. Ignore that. I'm wrong with that. But they're colleagues, so they talk a lot.
Yes.
He said, one of the things that Ray Ferraro and I have talked about for years is how jarring it is to go from watching an IIHF hockey tournament, the Olympics, World Championships, World Juniors, to the NHL. The standards seem completely different. I don't blame the officials. They call the games the way they're told to, and international officials miss calls. It happens with referees in every sport. But I prefer the IIHF hockey standard. You rarely wonder what a penalty is or isn't. The standard is consistent from game to game.
That's incredibly true. Like
Totally.
when you watch the Olympics or the World Juniors or whatever, a penalty is a penalty, and the players adjust. And
That's my biggest point. You have the NHL players go to the Olympics. They're like, maybe not instantly, but very quickly, they're adjusted to the rules.
they learn because
So if you do this in the NHL, the players will adjust.
it doesn't make any sense. Why is there so much subjectivity to penalties in the NHL? Like, you either call it or you don't. Like, it's
Okay, I want to jump down to this second quote because this kind of goes in with the first conversation. So Renaud Lavoie of TVA, who
I don't like that.
he is one of the people that I got nothing against the guy, but when they have him on the radio, they'll have him on the in for like a 12-minute segment. He'll talk for 11 minutes and 50 seconds of it.
He's so biased.
They'll ask him one question and he'll talk. Montreal. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, but he was doing an interview on a French podcast called La Dose.
Sure.
How's my French? And he recalled a conversation he had with a general manager in the NHL. So he had a conversation with a general manager and he recalled the story on this podcast. The GM told him that before the playoffs, they were told, quote, don't expect us to raise our arms when there are penalties. Our job is to manage the game.
Why are you on the ice?
So that's where we're at. And that's what kind of Ray Ferraro was talking to. Do you want penalties called, as the rule book says, or do you want the game being managed?
If you're there to manage the game,
We had a ref fired this year for managing the game.
literally, yes.
But that's what they're doing.
And they don't answer for it.
No, they don't answer
Like,
for it.
There's no press conference after the game where the refs or even the Reffing Association gets questioned by the media.
Like,
never.
Do you remember our friend Mika from Finland?
Heck yeah.
He
I
told us.
do
Do you
remember him.
remember the story he told us that I don't know if it was soccer or in Finland hockey? After the games are over, the referee immediately goes down to a booth and has to answer questions from the media.
Yeah. Like, why doesn't that exist?
Why are they so protected?
I don't know. I don't know. Is that
Like, the players are allowed to take heat.
Is
the
the
teams
union?
are allowed to take heat. The NHL is allowed to take heat. But do anything to the refs and it's an automatic fine, suspension, whatever.
Are they part of the NHL? Or are they unionized and
They
are
are-
governed by a different entity?
There is definitely got to be a referee union. I don't know what it is, but I can't imagine they are not unionized.
They would have to be. Is it a union to protect them?
It's probably like the union of National Hockey League referees.
You're gonna look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. Try to talk. Try to fill for me here.
I just like I understand I understand the management of the game, but if you're not there to call penalties based on the rule book and you're not there to call penalties in general, and you're just there to manage the game, then we don't need you. Put the linesmen on the ice, both of them, and then you can sit in the penalty box. You don't need to be on the ice at that point.
Exactly.
What are you going to do? You're not there to call penalties.
They are part of the National Hockey League Officials Association, so they do have a union.
Okay.
Which makes sense because they are obviously protected. But the NHL protects them like crazy.
I mean, unions can be a good thing and a bad thing.
Yep.
But you need to be you have to be held accountable.
I don't understand this managing the game. How do you manage a game? That's basically saying I'm going to give you guys 3 penalties and you give you guys 3 penalties, etc. Oh, wait a minute. Vegas went a game without a penalty. Oh, wait. Vegas got a couple penalties, but 2 of them were over the glass penalties.
It would be like going to McDonald's and getting a meal at lunchtime and then going later in the day and getting a different meal depending on how they felt.
Yeah.
Or the different amount of food,
Yeah.
or you'd never know what you were going to get based on whoever was managing the kitchen.
It's how many fries you got in your thing.
Exactly.
Sometimes there's fries at the bottom of your bag. It's overflowing so much. And sometimes you look at that and be like, what is this?
Exactly. You want to know why McDonald's works? Because it's consistent. You hear that, NHL? Consistency.
Yeah, be more like McDonald's, NHL.
Yeah, come on, guys.
So another example is Mark Spector of Sportsnet. He wrote an article on Sportsnet. It was on the front page of Sportsnet. Like, bam, front page. You go there. This is the first thing you see. The title of the article was NHL officials are losing the plot as missed penalties pile up.
Yes.
So
That's huge.
they're hearing this. There's no way they're not. And there's no way the league's not hearing this either. This is an issue right now.
And at the same time, I don't even blame the refs because I know they're being told.
They are being told.
It's not necessarily, they're just doing their job. Like, they are
Right.
being told from whoever's leading them or whoever's the president or whatever of that. Like, it's not, they're just doing their job.
Yep.
And obviously there's mistakes. Like, there's a point where you can manage a game and there's a point where you can clearly, biasly, I think, make a decision in favor of one team, like that punch to the face.
Okay, we're going to get into that. That's my next point. So, specific example, Game 4, Montreal-Vegas. I don't know if Montreal was on a power play or not.
I can't remember.
Anyway, the puck gets dumped down to the other end of the rink.
Yeah.
And the Montreal defenseman goes back and gets it, and he starts skating it back up, and all of a sudden, finally, the whistle goes. It's like, okay, what's going on the other end? And you don't really see it. Then they play the replay, and it's McNabb and Suzuki. Yeah. And he punches him right in the face.
Like,
and the referee, Chris Lee, say you're the punchers.
I'm the punchers?
To you people that are on audio, I'm going to stand up. I'm standing up right now. I'm so fired up about this. Okay. So, pretend Neil is twisted around the other way. He's McNabb, and he's going to punch Suzuki in the face. I'm Chris Lee. This is where I am. I'm literally 6 feet away watching this play happen.
You saw the photo, right?
I did not see the photo.
You haven't seen the photo?
No.
Oh,
the photo's probably even better than
what
I've seen.
Oh, man, you got to see the photo. I got to show you right now. It's unbelievable.
Now I'm off-centered, but whatever.
It is unbelievable. Like, it makes the NHL look so bad.
I only seen it in real time because I was watching it, and even, like, I think it was Garrett Galley, the guy you don't like, was even like, this is ridiculous. Like, how are you going to set a standard of officiating in the third period when you're watching a guy at the other end of the puck? That's beautiful.
Is that not damning?
That's beautiful. He's just like, oh, nothing. And then when he finally does blow the whistle, he starts going like this behind the net.
Yeah.
What is that? Travel? That's not a hockey call. What call is this in hockey? I never learned that one.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Clear the clock.
Wrap it up. Nothing to see here. Move on.
I just don't get it. I understand there's going to be rough stuff, but there's a point where it crosses the line. I think personally that's just not as a Canadiens fan, just as an objective hockey fan. Punching someone in the face like that.
And I'm sure they were both like kind of jabbing back and forth, but he literally punched him in the face and then he just like that.
Yeah. And I don't think Suzuki embellished it.
No.
Like, that's the thing.
He got punched in the face. Like, it was like right in the face. It wasn't like a side of the head. It was like...
It's a roughing penalty. You could call it unsportsmanlike. You could call it roughing.
But he was literally looking right at them. The puck is down there and he's like this.
Did you see what he did afterwards?
No.
As soon as the punch happened, he went...
No way.
He did watch the replay. He looks that way.
That's ridiculous.
It is. It's stupid.
So people were all playing the all Canadian agenda, like, oh, the NHL doesn't want a Canadian team in the finals. That'll be bad for ratings, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm tired of that narrative. People in Canada, you can do better than that.
Yeah. And yeah. Here's the thing. Montreal didn't lose the game because of some refs, in my opinion.
Yep.
They lost the game because they can't score. They couldn't score on their opportunities.
Yep.
So I don't think that specific game was being decided by refereeing, but we're heading into the Stanley Cup Finals. And calls like this can't continue to happen, or non-calls like this can't continue to happen. Like, I don't care who's in the finals. I don't care if Montreal gets eliminated by Vegas, and Vegas moves on, and they play whoever. Like, this is for the big cheese, okay?
The big cheese.
This is the big cheese that's going on here. We can't have no little tiny
As Chris
mice.
Rock says, this is for the big piece of chicken.
There you go. You got the big chicken here. We can't have any little mice messing with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm done with talking about the refs.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see, but whatever.
That's
Okay.
it.
Nope. Couple quick notes and then we'll end this because we got to wrap this up.